Well, good morning, Southern Oregon, and welcome to the Real Estate Show. I'm Alice Lema here with Pete Belcastro. We're both brokers at John L. Scott Real Estate, and we're here to chat about what's going on in the market. We have some amazing guests today from the Building Safety Department, City of Medford. But first, let's check in with Pete and hear kind of what's going on in the market.
Well, how you been doing, Alice? Gosh, Labor Day. You remember when we were talking about Memorial Day, we were all kind of still locked down state and real estate was kind of going up and down. We weren't really sure what was going to happen all summer. Well, here we are, the end of summer, Labor Day, school starts, whatever format's going to be. And, the market continues to perform amazingly well. The biggest change, Alice, before we talk going, is that on the first week of July, saw Jackson County, those weekly median prices rise above 400,000. Remember, we talked about that?
Yeah.
Last week here, August 16th to the 22nd, it was the highest median price I've seen since we started doing this. It was over 468,000, the median price on 53 sales, of which 34 of those 53 were over $350,000.
Right.
That's kind of the story that we're seeing, isn't it?
Well, and it's a knee-jerk reaction from the corona. There's a lot of out-of-towners. We're one of, I think, the top 15 or 20 places in the United States that's been identified as kind of the safe haven. And we also have the locals trying to move. They're all trying to bundle up with their relatives, and it's created quite a quandary in the price department.
Well, it has, and part of that, you got record low interest rates right now, and you've got low inventory. In fact, this last week, Jackson County only has 490 residential sales listings in the market. Josephine County has 164. Anyway, so what we need, Alice, maybe is like building. We need some more building, something going on to kind of relieve us here. And that's part of the reason the guests are there for the Medford Building Department, because, there's a lot of activity going on in building, remodeling, all the things. When do you need permits? When don't you need permits? It's a huge story, and we're going to get to some of that today with our guests.
Yes, we're so excited. We have Carol Wedman, Sam Barnum, and Kim London, all from the Building Safety Department, City of Medford. And they're going to have tons and tons of updates about how all of this can happen during the corona. There's also some pretty big misconceptions out there with the general public about what the building department is or isn't doing. So they're going to update us that as well. Great show. Do not touch that dial. Pete Belcastro, Alice Lema, brokers John L. Scott. We'll be back in just a minute on the Real Estate Show. Stay tuned. Well, welcome back to the Real Estate Show, folks. I'm Alice Lema here with Pete Belcastro. We're both brokers at John L. Scott here in Southern Oregon. And today we're so excited to introduce to you some of the City of Medford Building and Safety Department representatives. We have Carol Whiteman, who is the Development Service Manager. We have Sam Barnum, who is the Building Safety Director, and Kim London, the Development Service Coordinator. Did I get that right?
Development Services Specialist.
Okay. So Kim, why don't you take a quick second and just kind of say what it is you do there for the City of Medford, and then we'll let Carol and Sam do a quick intro as well.
Sure. Kimberly London, City Building Department. I've been with the city for over 20 years, and I issue permits, work the front counter. Some of you have probably seen me try to problem solve and get people to get their permits and get going on their projects. Carol?
Hi, I'm Carol Wedman, the Development Services Manager. I have direct oversight to licensing and permitting counters. Of late, we've been kind of implementing new programs, developing and implementing new programs for the COVID pandemic here. And other than that, I pretty much support to the counter to help them be the best they can be at what they do and deliver that great service they do.
And I'm Sam Barnum, the Building Safety Director. I've been here for 25 years, so my life is fairly easy because I have outstanding employees that run this whole show and make me look good. I have a great staff, and we do a great deed for the city, and it's been a great place to work.
Well, and I have to say, just on behalf of the public, I've worked with your department a lot over the years, and for such a small municipality, we have the most amazing building and safety department. So we all appreciate you very much. So let's just jump in and talk about the corona. What kind of programs are you having to change, and how are things going with the pandemic in your department?
We've been open throughout this whole time frame. We've been electronic with plan review for many, many years now. So we just continued with the plan review electronically and didn't slow down or stop at all. And the permit history reflects that. We are open to the public, but we're encouraging electronic, of course, to keep the contact as to minimal. We're just trucking along, and Carol can discuss what we're having coming up soon for residential occupied home permits. That's very exciting.
And we have been open the whole time. We have installed 45 feet of plexiglass at our front counter, hand wash stations and everything, and doing this social distancing and keeping everything in line with that. So it's been great that everybody's been willing and wanting to keep the community rolling, the building community going. So.
Yeah, in the past, people would stay for some of their over-the-counter permits. We've taken out furniture. People have to kind of move along, and we're moving at a swift pace. We're fully staffed. All of our staff are working in the offices as long as the doors are open and we can. We are launching a virtual inspection program to augment all our electronic submissions as well, and that will be launched primarily for existing residential remodel and alterations initially, and that is for the comfort and safety of our inspectors as well as homeowners and contractors. We'll continue on site for commercial and residential new, because traditionally there's no one there, or it's very lean and people can safe distance easily.
So how does that work exactly to do a virtual inspection?
We're going to launch it with just Zoom and FaceTime. And we've just developed a brochure we're going to get out to the public and start handing out with permits as well. For folks, they'll just call in either by citizen engagement, which is our online web scheduling system. They can do it by our integrated voice response system by phone, or they can call and leave a voicemail and just indicate that they would like a virtual inspection. And it's subject to the inspector's approval. Based on, they'll look at the job. They can send pictures as well. They'll look at the job and see if it does qualify and if they can do an efficient inspection that way. And then they'll just schedule it like any other inspection. If it's photos, they'll just correspond by email, and all results will still be electronic, access through our web or by calling. And I mean, it's going to be a pretty simple process. Most people know how to Zoom and Facebook, and if you don't, they can go online and Google it, and very simple.
Here's a good question for you guys. Did the building department see an increase, in permits or remodel kinds of things happen during the COVID, during the early months? Because, the Grange Co-op and places like that did Home Depot, they did record amounts of business. And I'm just wondering if that filtered down. Did people actually, because we've been talking about this, did people actually come in and get permits to do more remodels during that time period? Or what happened during that time in the building department that you guys saw?
Well, when you're at home more, you find all sorts of things you want to do to your house or that need maintenance, repair. The remodel permits have remained steady. The new construction has remained steady for residential housing. Our statistics are available on the website. We put that up once a month that tells you all the new homes that have been applied for, the valuation, the new commercial projects. So if someone just wants to know how many new residential permits have been applied for, it's up there every single month on our website, as well as inspection history and results of inspections if people want that information.
Okay, so you didn't really see like a overwhelming increase in anything like, but a steady through that period. Is that what you're saying then?
I think what we realized we had going is we had all the additional hospital Asante projects and everything else with the, we have a couple of hotels going and everything like that. You throw on residential not slowing down, it really has been steady or even a little above normal. So we are busy. We haven't added staff, but I think this remote inspections could be something we carry on after COVID's gone, just to get those re-inspections or something without having to spend the time traveling and everything else. So,
wow, Alice, that's another one of the things that we're seeing changing before our eyes and how we conduct business. Look
See,
at that.
and I think a lot of this is not going to go back. Don't you?
No.
Don't you guys think that this is just streamlined? The public's going to like it. You're going to like it. What are your thoughts on that when the corona is over?
We still have folks that aren't necessarily internet savvy, electronic savvy. So there's still a need for personal engagement, when you say, Kim, because they're still busy at the front counter, even though we're encouraging electronic.
Are you really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're still coming in, and that's okay. Some people just want the personal touch, and I like talking to people, so it's absolutely fine. We do have the plexiglass. You do need to wear a mask. We wear a mask as well, and it's just, if that's the best way for them to conduct business and understand, then so be it.
and most of our counter activity is concerned citizens, questioning neighbors or what have you, or realtors coming in. It's not really our day-to-day contractor submitting plans. They'll do that electronically.
Correct.
So I have a question about the. I'm sorry, Pete.
No, go ahead. No, I was just going to say, one of the questions that I have you get from people is, when do I need a permit or when do I not need a permit? And you can, and it varies from, I don't know if it varies, but people always ask that question, Alice. When do you need a permit? Do I need a permit if I'm just going to do a remodel inside my house? Do I need a permit if I'm going to add on something? Do I need that kind of thing? And one of the things the city of Medford has, and Kimberly is I know, been on our show before, is the city of Medford has the most extensive database, even on paper, of permitting and building stuff than any other government I've ever seen.
Yeah, we keep everything here. From 1962 to current, we have readily available permit history. It actually goes back further. The very first building permit was October 27th, 1911. And I have ledger books from 1911 to 1961 that anyone is welcome to come by and take a look at if they're doing history on their house, if they're trying to figure out if something was permitted, who the builder was in the 50s, etc. We do have the permit history, but readily available from 1962 to current. So if you have a garage conversion, a patio conversion, basement conversion, anything that you want to know about the permit history, you can go to the City of Medford's website, scroll all the way to the bottom, find it fast, and do a public records request. We usually get back to you within a day with the permit history from 1962 to current.
Okay, when in general do we need a permit? Just tell people, in general, what do you say to them?
For residential, if you're remodeling your kitchen and you're relocating any plumbing fixtures or altering any electrical or going from like an electric stove to a gas stove, you need permits. And call us, just call us and ask. It's better to be safe than sorry.
You almost have to look at it, if it's maintenance, then you don't need a permit.
Yeah.
But if you're replacing or moving or altering something, then you need a permit. But maintenance, you do not.
Even a new water heater, you need a permit for.
For a new water heater?
To replace one?
To replace one? Really? Well, I didn't know that one.
We should have known that, Pete.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So what happens if you find out that the house you're buying has permits, does not have permits, had work that was not permitted?
Yeah, that's if you, hopefully your agent called and checked, or even the listing agent. I want to get people to check the permit history before homes are put on the market so that we can rectify it. And I'm still seeing a lot that are a week, 3 days before close of escrow, and the appraisers calling it out, or actually the home inspectors surprised me a lot lately, which I love, because we need to have permits for this unpermitted stuff. All we're doing is passing it along to somebody else, and let's just get it rectified and keep on going. We don't do penalties and stuff like that once we're made aware of something that's non-permitted. We just need to look at it as if you were applying for the permits and get the permits and get the inspections and keep on going. Penalties are for people that are repeat offenders, or we already have, you know, code cases going with them, or it's the same property and the same owner over and over again. So we're not opposed to assessing penalties if needed, but if you're going to be listing a home and you want to do your due diligence and make sure that this garage conversion or whatever is permitted, I really want you to before it's listed for sale. Let's get it rectified before it gets put on the market.
I would bet garage conversion problems, Alice, come up more so than any other particular item, I would think. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and they always word it like, well, I did not need a permit for that, did I? And I was like, it's already done.
Haven't you people have to go back? Isn't it true? Got to go back sometimes and take it back and put it back to a garage before they sell it because it was not permitted. Is that true too?
Well, that would be a worst case scenario. But if there's not adequate off-street parking, or if it's just not meeting any of the codes, then yeah, that could happen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it won't, but usually we're able to work with you and get it.
I'm saying, in other words, do it right the first time, right, Alice?
Yeah, because even if you're not going to be assessed penalties, it's going to hold everything up. Plus, you know, everybody's so jittery now in real estate, and we'll have to talk about this again because we have a break coming up, but you just don't want to have, you know, problems that could have been handled in the beginning. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after these commercial messages. Well, welcome back, Southern Oregon, to the Real Estate Show. Pete Belcastro, I'm Alice Lema. We're both brokers here in John L. Scott Real Estate, and we're having a very interesting conversation with some of the folks from the City of Medford Building and Safety Department. And right before the break, we were talking about permits. Well, actually, we were talking about what happens when you don't get permits. And one of the things we run into as real estate agents constantly is, especially garage conversions, right, Pete? People just, they turn it into living space and then they don't tell anybody.
Well, and then when you go to sell it out, as we've heard, and once it's called out and the lender finds out about it, et cetera, you're going to have to do something about it. And we see that happen. I also, Alice, I know the city, you know, one of the things that goes on is, I don't know how all of it works. Does each city have their own building department like Medford has, or is it the county take care of some of these things, or how does that actually work? Because I know a lot of people are mortified to go up and talk to you about this stuff. So how does it actually work?
Each jurisdiction has their own building department. Jackson County does White City, Sam's Valley, you know, the outlying areas. City of Medford, of course, is City of Medford, Ashland, Central Point, Phoenix Talent. Everyone has, most people have their own building department. We all pretty much run under the same rules and regulations, but each jurisdiction also has their own municipal code, which may be, you know, more stringent than the other divisions. So you always want to check with the jurisdiction in which your property is located to make sure that you are understanding what they are expecting of you. But yeah, I wanted to go back really quick to unpermitted work. Right now, with a lot of new construction and a lot of homes on the hills, we have unfinished basements. And I'm going to tell you that a lot of times they aren't finished as part of the new construction. And then when they go to resell in 4 or 5 years, they are finished and they are habitable square footage, but I don't reflect the permits.
Can you define what finished is so that people understand the difference?
Habitable with heat in and air. Not just unfinished shell for like storage.
So does it have to have drywall and carpet?
It does have to have drywall. It doesn't have to have carpet. It'll have to have any fire life safety items, egress windows or smoke detectors, what have you that way. But as far as cosmetics, it doesn't have to be painted, but it has to be sheetrock, insulation, and heating and air.
So that means electrical.
Correct. We look at everything in the walls. So when we come in after the fact, when something hasn't been permitted, there's no way of us looking at the lumber grade, the type of insulation used, and the electrical wiring or plumbing that was put in those walls. So those are all things, anything that's going to be concealed really needs a permit and inspection.
Ah, if it's concealed, that's the word there. If it's concealed, because I've seen a lot of those. Actually, you've been in a lot of places that have unfinished basements or they finished them up like that. And I guess I never thought of that, but you wonder if they do have a permit. But in the city of Medford, you would know that, wouldn't you?
Most likely I would, or I'd
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely would. Well, how big is the construction part, Alice? You know, we look to follow the stats each week, and in the Medford Building Department issues probably more, I would assume, more building permits for new construction than any other jurisdiction. Is that pretty close to being accurate?
Oh, yeah, we are definitely the leaders as far as building permits. I don't, dwelling-wise, by far.
On my little stats, on my MLS stats, the last 3-month period, there were 76 new homes sold, new construction sold in the county. And both in Medford, it looked like there was probably over half of them, almost 50 of the 76 were in Medford. So that just tells you how Medford really, the city, dominates and has done so in the new construction area. Allison, guess where do you think most of that takes place?
I would say Southwest.
Oh.
Am I wrong?
Yes. East Medford, still. East Medford is still by far the big place.
Well, there's big developments going on too, right? Like Silver Oaks, there's several big developments up there. So
Yeah.
So with the new urban adoption of urban growth boundary, thank you. The adoption of those, there are some big developments going in on the west side, right off Columbus is the largest. It's probably a year out before you'll start seeing ground break. But you know, the east side is always going, and the Manor has a huge development plan from the top of the hill all the way to the golf course. So.
And how many when the East Medford plan was first announced? I was back in my SOU days. There was going to be like 10,000 homes, built in that area of south of the Northeast plan. How much has been developed of that to this day? Do you know? Are we halfway through that, or a third of the way through that, or is there still more to go?
I'm thinking Mahar's, you're probably a little over half. That area, Mahar's and Mahar Brothers, and that area. The Manor hasn't even touched what they have. They have, I think, the capability of over 800 units coming down off that hill, starting with office complexes and medical, and then going into residential, apartments, and then residential all the way through the golf course. And I think
are these developments, do they cover the areas? Because we see a lot of new construction where the prices are so darn high, they're way above even our median price. So my question, are these developments I hate to use the word affordable housing and terms like that, but is it a mix of housing, or is it all going to be exclusive single family residence where it's going to be, $500,000-$600,000 houses?
That's a great question. I hate to tell you, if you're on the east side, I don't think you're going to see a lot of affordable housing. I think the only way to make the east side affordable is we are giving incentives out for ADUs. So you build a house and you put an ADU in the backyard that you can augment your payment. I think that I would consider that being more affordable because we're reducing the SDC charges or proposing to do that, and that should be an incentive on the east side. The west side is always going to be less, but how much less? They're creeping up a little bit. They'll never keep up with the east side, but.
So how much are you reducing the system development charges for adding additional dwellings to your yard? And secondly, is that part of the new state of Oregon mandate for adding up to 4 dwellings on one tax lot?
Well, it's kind of all part of it. It's just trying to get affordable housing put into Medford, more affordable housing. I believe, and now it's not our fee, that SDCs are going to be cut in half for an ADU. So it sounds funny, but that is the engineering. SDCs costs are the largest costs on a new home.
They are. So are you reducing any of the requirements like sidewalks and stuff like that, or just the system development charges?
I don't think
I'm asking for a friend.
I don't think using sidewalks or anything like that. What they are doing is, I think they're being a little more flexible on the size of an ADU you can have and stuff like that. So
that's great. What size is going to be recommended maybe?
I I would have to check on that. That once again is a planning issue, not a building issue.
Right, totally understand, because your departments work in concert with each other. So, but the current maximum size of an additional dwelling unit, isn't it a 900 or 1,000, as long as it's 50% of the main house?
Well, it's now 75%, but not to exceed 900.
Right. So they're letting you build or have a smaller dwelling, existing dwelling, and then add a 900 square foot ADU.
So you don't get any bigger.
Right,
It's still limited to 900 square feet
at this time.
at this time.
An accessory dwelling unit.
But
So
you
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well,
it could be bigger.
I'm really glad to hear. I'm really glad to hear that the additional dwelling units component is now part of what you're doing, because that's a big thing. Let me ask you: have you seen permits? What happens if someone wants to put a short-term vacation rental in a property now? Do they have
That's
to
a
come
great question.
to the building department? Do they? What's the city of Medford right now? I guess their strategy or whatever with short-term rentals, because I know several people who converted them and they're doing really well. First of all, and are we going to see more? So what's the permit status of that?
There isn't really a permit status. Here's our problem. We're going to look at them as far as building department. We're going to look at them as a single family dwelling. What people do with them after that is something that will be evaluated by planning to make sure it's allowed in that location, because they have been getting some complaints. And we're also talking about including those in business licenses. Nothing's been, approved or anything else, but so we have a record of these at least.
We already do Airbnbs.
Is the land around West Howard Park? The park. I guess that's in by the old KTVL out that direction of Ross Anley. That's a huge development when that starts. The aquatic center starts to go. Are there developments coming up around that area, and is that inside the city or is it outside the city limits?
There's
County.
The swimming pool is
City.
all city. Where that pool is going is all city.
Okay.
Everything to the west of there is county, but everything else is city.
Okay, well, that's going to bring, okay, that when that is developed, whether there's a lot of housing around it or not, it is going to increase the vacation rental market in Medford a great deal, as US Cellular Park has.
Sure.
So that's the whole area that I think you guys are going to be dealing with that a lot more than probably we will. But I see that as a big boost in Medford housing and commerce when that aquatic center gets in there. It's going to be really great. I'm really excited.
Well, how's all that going to work with the COVID? These big projects, these big public facilities, are any of those plans going to be changed?
Like for what? What do you mean? Like you're not going to do them?
Or they're going to have to be, oh, go ahead. You guys talk.
I'm going to guess, this pool at best is 2 years out. So if we're still in COVID at that point in time, I don't know what to tell you. I think what the city is looking for is they're looking for this to be a boost for when we get out of COVID, a positive. I believe it's the direction they want to go with this. At what point in time do they decide if COVID is here to stay for a while? I don't know. That's above my pay grade.
Can you swim with a mask on?
Snorkel.
They might have to do something like that, right? If it's still around.
Oh, sure, way premature. That's not going to be here in 2 years. I would bet you on that one. I don't think so. I hope you're wrong on that one.
I hope I'm wrong too. So are any of the commercial, because we have kind of side effects of the COVID in the commercial leasing market, is any of that bleeding over into the commercial permits? Are people still wanting to build commercial buildings?
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, the permits have not slowed down. We're still doing stuff. Medford Center is still having, tenant improvement projects going on out there by Hobby Lobby's still building. Market of Choice is coming in pretty soon. So they're doing pretty good. Northgate Office Park is still bringing in construction. We have another hotel coming in. Navigator's Landing has stuff going on. It's still new construction and remodels are still booming in commercial, which is nice. Yeah,
That is.
factories coming, people.
Well, and we've got a break coming up, so hold that thought because we want to talk more about what is happening in the city of Medford. We're here with the Building and Safety Department. Pete Belcastro, Alice Lema will be right back on the radio show. Well, welcome back to the Real Estate Show, folks. I'm Alice Lema here with Pete Belcastro. We're with John L. Scott Real Estate. We're both brokers there, and we're talking to the City of Medford Building and Safety Department. And we were just before the break talking about some of the commercial development that's still ongoing and moving forward in spite of the COVID. And you were talking about some new hotels that were coming. Can you tell us about that?
They're still under construction. We're getting ready for plans to come in on another 4-story hotel at Navigator's Landing, which is across from the airport. They're doing a couple other commercial structures. Road Federal Credit Union is doing some business offices. Medford Center, the strip where Sears and the Parachute place is getting ready to put in 3 retail stores for us. So that's market of choice. Yeah, the co-op going in. So there's still stuff coming in, and we're super excited about it.
And while you should be, there's also going to be a lot going out, and there's a lot more space available for leasing commercial space, I think, in all of our cities as a result of the economic turndown that we're seeing. And it's it's amazing how much activity is going on in Medford. You guys are absolutely right. There's a lot of activity, and I wonder how it's going to mesh with everything else happening around us. And look at Ashland; it's a mess. Things like that. It's really sad. And in terms of the commercial activity, even though what you're saying is so buoyant and so exciting of what's going on, it's really crazy to think about this.
Does the city have any possibility of lowering the fees for those projects? It's just going to be the residential?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the SDC fees are usually the largest in a commercial project. As far as building, I haven't raised our fees in
6 years.
Yeah, I think it's 6 years ago.
So don't bring it up again.
No, I don't think they're going to allow me to raise my fees for a while.
There's also the SDC deferral program. I mean, there's other programs that support, the launch of projects where they don't pay till the end their SDC fees. We also did a small business grant. City of Medford gave out grants in increments of $500, depending on number of employees. I think maybe the biggest one was $1,500. I think we got around 100 businesses on that. So
that's awesome.
Shifts from to home occupation, but we're getting the same number of business licenses steady. New business licenses, about 25 a month. And again, some of those are home occupations now. So we're seeing that remaining strong.
So are you saying you got that many, it's pretty steady business license requests during the shutdown, during this whole time?
Yeah, we had a month or two where it started to decline, and I was kind of watching it going, oh no. And it came right back up to levels pre-COVID. Like I said, I think some of that is a shift to home occupations. People might have been in the workforce and then maybe they lost their job. We don't know what the circumstances are. It's just a hunch. And then open businesses they might have thought of for many years, and now is the opportunity. But we are holding steady, about 25 new businesses a month.
Well, that is so encouraging. So if you are, do you need a business license to work from home? What are the rules about that?
Yes, you do. You do need a business license. And, it's circumstantial to what you're doing, whether we license it or not. So there's an agreement online on our website. You can look through that and see if you qualify and what you need. Kim can speak to the parking. She approves those, so she can, for our department, like, certain parking requirements and square footage requirements.
Trip charges. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't, by having home occupation, you can't disrupt your neighbor. So all of that's looked at. Signage is reduced to a certain square footage.
But you can have a sign?
A baby sign.
Yeah.
Don't define, like, how big?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
On Zoom. Yeah.
So what if you're just like a remote worker? Like we have all these remote tech workers coming here from California. They're just working as an extension of their office. Do they need a permit or a license?
Only if customers are coming in or you're selling a service.
Mm-hmm.
Telework, we don't touch it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, before we get out of here, I do want to mention one thing, Alice. The city of Medford, as we talked about being one of the construction centers, and literally half of the new construction that goes on in the county is within the city. A number of years ago, the city council added it was a tax. I can't even remember what it was called, to new construction, a small tax that went on. Remember that, Kimberly?
Mm-hmm.
It's still there.
Excise tax. And it's still there. Mm-hmm.
Well, was it the tax of new construction? What that money has gone for is to a program with the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors and Access for first-time home buyers assistance and down payment and earnest money assistance. And I just wanted to say that I just completed a wonderful transaction with a young couple. You have to have a new home, buying a new home in the city of Medford. And this young lady got $15,000 in assistance out of that program in Medford's excise tax and new construction, and they achieved their American dream. They never thought they would have home ownership, and they did that. That was an amazing program. Now, because there's money in there, that really can help citizens in Medford. And I just want to draw that attention. It's through Access, and so please consider that if you're a first-time home buyer. There's even more money available for people. So the program, that part of it, hey, it's working.
Good story.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Or talk to your real estate agent. Your real estate agents would know about it as well.
Yeah. So it works. And I remember when the tax came out, I go, what are they doing? They shouldn't put a tax on, this kind of thing. And now look at it, I guess we've accepted it, and it's actually helping some of our local citizens who could never afford a home in this market. As we said earlier, $468,000 is the median price in Jackson County last week. That's a record high, and we don't want people to be, shut out of the market. That would be a disaster for our communities if that happens. So, there's good and bad, and every time we do a show, we see some wonderful things happening, and then we see also clouds on the horizon also.
So do you have any recommendations for the general public, because everybody's home so much now and they're starting to do these projects? Can you give them just kind of a recap of how to approach these changes that they want to make?
Yeah, most of the stuff is available on our website. It is user friendly. The applications and forms, along with the fee schedules, the guidelines for submitting plans and what you need plans for, with pictures, and this is how detailed we need it, this is what we need, and we're a phone call away. If you would rather just call us and talk to us, please do so, or email us, building@cityofmedford.org. That's building@cityofmedford.org. We'd be more than happy to answer your questions. Tell us what you want to do. Let's get together and bring it to fruition for you.
And don't second guess. If you have to stop and ask yourself, do I need a permit? Do I need a license? The answer is get online. Well, thank you guys so much. We appreciate the City of Medford Building and Safety Department. You're just fabulous to work with. You do answer your phone. You do answer your emails. So this is Pete Belcastro and Alice Lema wishing you a great Southern Oregon weekend. Get out there and enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the beautiful area. And there'll be a repeat of this show tomorrow on KCMX News Talk Radio 880 AM, and that'll be at 6 p.m. Otherwise, wishing you a great weekend, and we will see you again next Saturday at 10 a.m. Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you.